leadership has served our country for
Yep.
nearly 50 years. Has he been a worthy servant for our country?
My experience with Joe Biden is when I've talked to him, he cares about the country. That's been my experience with him. He cares about the country. I disagree with his positions. I don't believe we ought to have an open border. I don't believe we should be spending 50% more than we take in taxes. I don't believe we ought to have a woke military. But my experience with Joe Biden is that's what he believes in. So you have to always respect what people believe in. But one thing that we two things. First off, remember what Cheeto said in the beginning, that she had never turned down any request by the Trump team. And then we find out that's all not true. When you can't lie, you cannot lie in these jobs. You've got what the right answer. If you're not sure, say, look, let me make sure that we haven't. That's the right answer. She didn't do that. She said no, we hadn't. So the other thing is, look at the Democrats have all sat there and said, oh, Republicans and Donald Trump, they're a threat to democracy. Guess what just happened? The guy that won the primary on the Democrat side, the leadership of the Democrat Party, made sure he quit. That's the threat to democracy. I mean, he went through, right or wrong, he went through and he won the primaries. And these guys said, oh, well, because they can't win now, not because he's incompetent, because he can't win, they wanted to get rid of him. That's more of a threat to democracy than anything you could ever accuse a Republican or Trump of.
Yeah, right.
Look, I think it's the right thing for him to step down. I don't necessarily think that we should just be looking at the invocation of the 25th, which obviously he's presented himself in a way that is mentally and physically unfit, and I think that we see that. We're at a tumultuous time when we've got China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea who geopolitically aligned, who are looking to destroy the West and to eliminate the U.S. dollar as a global currency. I sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee as well, so I've been able to see a little bit more deeper into where they're moving and how they're moving. And right now is not a time to have a compromised commander-in-chief who can't make the necessary decisions while holding the nuclear football. We don't need a commander-in-chief who's only operating from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We need someone who actually is capable of being able to do this job day in and day out. And it is a grueling job, I'll tell you. But at the end of the day, we also need to look at the fact that there was mistakes that was made that I personally think, and I've submitted the actual impeachment filings for, such as quid pro quo, where he has held congressionally appropriated funds to Israel in a way to try and gain favor and votes when it came to Michigan with a 13.2% uncommitted. We have to look at the fact that he has a dereliction of duty and an abuse of power when he has circumvented SCOTUS's ruling with regards to tuition bailout. We have to look at the fact that he has not utilized the take care clause when it comes to securing our borders and allowing millions and millions of illegals to come across and hundreds of those on a terrorist watch list. The amount of angel families that we have in this country is absurd. We're talking about the safety and security of other nations when we can't keep our own American citizens safe here at home. And I think that's a massive failure. And so I think that he's done the right thing, but it's not just about you're not fit to run for re-election. If you're not fit to run for re-election, you're not fit to run this country. And I think at that point, we need him to step down and we need to start getting accountability. And don't think that whether it's Director Cheadle, who goes ahead and resigns for her position, or Dr. Fauci, who thinks that he has sailed away into the sunset, or even President Biden himself, that their resignation or their no longer of holding a position means that we won't continue to seek the accountability that's necessary for the American people. It just means they have more time off to sit before our committees and answer questions.
Excellent. Last question. Last question.
Did you have another?
Your take on Kamala Harris being a front runner at this point?
So, I served with her. I served with her. She was in the Senate my first 2 years up there. We sat next to each other on Homeland Security. Look, there's no difference between Biden and her from the standpoint of their positions. She supports an open border. She supports unbelievable government spending, which has caused this massive inflation. She supports, she's a California socialist. Yes. So that's not going to play well in Florida or a lot of states. That's just who she is. So I think it sure looks like she'll be the nominee, but it really doesn't matter. Trump's going to win. People are fed up with what the Biden administration has done. They know it's bad for your families. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you.